Hey, hey, hey. I am so delighted to be back with you for this week's video. And I want to start by saying that you are not behind, you are divided. And most high capacity women are not struggling because they lack discipline. They are struggling because they are making decisions based on what they can do instead of what they are assigned to do. You see, capacity, it creates options, but calling creates constraints. So if your life has too many options, your execution will always be unstable. I want to welcome you back to this week's video. I am Shelby Frederick, also known as Lady Jules, and here we are answering your most pressing issues for those high capacity women who are in need of executive clarity. All right, so let's get into the meat of this video for today because here is the real issue. The real issue is you have built a life around your ability, but not your assignment. So now your calendar is full, your energy is fragmented, your execution is delayed. And it's not because you're lazy. No, no, no. It's because you're overcommitted to things that were never assigned to you. So, ability does not equal responsibility. Just because you can carry it does not mean you were meant to. So, I want to share one of my client stories on today. I want to tell you about this lady, a woman that I worked with. She had built a business, she led a ministry team, she sat on a nonprofit board, she homeschooled two of her children, and was mentoring three women informally, none of whom she had officially said yes to. It just kind of happened. So when I asked her what her primary assignment was, she looked at me and she paused for about 15 seconds. She didn't know. And it was not because she lacked intelligence or she lacked faith. It was because she had been executing at capacity for so long that she had completely lost sight of the assignment underneath it all. You see, she was producing, but she wasn't progressing. And that's the difference I want you to sit with today. Listen, production is activity, but progress is movement toward the assignment. So you can produce for a decade and make zero progress on what God actually called you to build. But listen, that's not failure. It's misalignment. And misalignment is not a character flaw, it is what I call a discernment gap, which means it can be corrected. But first, you have to be willing to look at it. So let's talk about reframing. We need to correct the belief that more capacity does not mean more obligation. It means more discernment is required. You see, every yes has a cost to your assignment. And most of the delays in your life right now are not from disobedience in action, they are from overcommitment in decision making. You are saying yes too often and calling it responsibility. And here's where it gets real uncomfortable. Some of those yeses, you said them out of gifting. And gifting can feel like calling, but they are not the same thing. Your gift is what you are capable of doing, but your calling is what you are commissioned to do. And when gifted women operate outside of their commission, one of, or two things happen. One of two things. Either they burn out because the energy required to sustain misaligned work is always higher than the energy required to sustain assigned work, or they plateau. And that's because they're producing results in an area that was never designed to compound for them. And both of those feel like personal failure. But I'm here to tell you, neither of them are. They are simply the natural outcome of operating from capacity instead of calling. So the question is not, can I do this? The question is, am I assigned to this? And if so, for this season. So let's talk about saying no, because I want to remove the guilt. Unnecessary yes decisions are not generosity, they are delayed obedience. Ask me how I know. In Mark chapter 1, verses 35 through 38, Jesus has just come off of one of the most powerful ministry moments in the gospel. He healed Simon's mother in law, he cast out demons. The whole city was gathered at the door. The whole city. And what does he do the next morning? He gets up before daylight while everyone is still asleep and he goes to a solitary place to pray. Solitary place to pray. And when Simon finds him, the text says, Simon tells him, everyone is looking for you. Get that. Everyone is looking for you. Now, I want you to think about what that feels like in your own life. When the demand is loud, when the need is visible, when your capacity is obvious to everyone in the room, everyone is looking for you. Jesus does not apologize. He does not explain the decision to the crowd. He does not even negotiate. He says, let us go somewhere else, to the nearby villages, so I can preach there also. That is why I have come. You hear that? That is why I have come. Jesus knew the assignment. So clearly, he knew it so clearly that visible need could not override it. The whole city being outside of the door could not override his assignment. And that is what alignment does. It gives you enough clarity that the noise of demand doesn't drown out the voice of direction. Let me set you free today. You are not required to respond to everything you are capable of handling. The crowd is going to always have a need, but that does not make you the assignment. And I've had to learn this. It was a hard lesson to learn, but it's a lesson that I'm glad and so grateful to God that I got it. You see, saying no to the crowd is not abandonment. Sometimes saying no is obedience. Now, I want to talk about your schedule because schedule has a strategy. Your calendar is not a time tool. Your calendar is a reflection of your alignment. So if your schedule is built on availability, your execution will always be unstable. Why? Because your schedule must be rebuilt based on assignment. What does that mean? That means that some things get removed, some things get delayed, and some things never return. And it's not because they are bad, but it's because they simply are not aligned. So, what does this look like practically? This is what I want you to do this week. I want you to pull up your calendar from the last 30 days. Most of us have our calendars on our phone. I want you to look at not what you plan to do, but what you actually did. And for every recurring commitment, every standing meeting, every informal obligation, I want you to ask one question. Is this on my 30-day execution map? Or did it land there because I was available? And that question alone will surface more misalignment than most planning sessions will. Your schedule is not a neutral document. It is literally a theological statement about what you believe your assignment is. So I want to give you this directive. when we talk about the D.D.B framework, this is the pathway. If you've been following along, you know that I've been talking about this for about a year now. Discern, dismantle, and build. So I want to walk you through each one because this is not just a framework, it's a sequence. And the sequence matters. You see, discern, that's not a feeling. It's not a feeling exercise, it's a strategic one. Because discernment asks, what is my primary assignment in this season? Not across your whole life, not your 5 year vision, but this season. Because the assignment often shifts before the calling does. And when you are unclear on the season, you will try to execute everything simultaneously and produce nothing at depth. Ask me how I know. Now, dismantle. Dismantle is where most women stall because dismantling means releasing things that are not bad, but they're just not now. And our nervous systems are not trained for that type of grief. It grieves us. It grieves us because we have been told that releasing something means it failed. But I'm here to tell you that it doesn't. It means it completed its season. When you dismantle without grief, you know what you do? You rush the release for the next and you recreate the misalignment under a different name. So take the time, do it cleanly, and release it with honor. Now, build, build is not the beginning. Build is the reward of the first two. And most women want to go straight to the build. But if you haven't discerned and dismantled, you are just building a new version of the same overcommitted life with better branding. You see, the build is what happens when the space is clear and the assignment is confirmed. You build the structure that makes execution inevitable because stability does not come from control, it comes from alignment. Now, I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine waking up on a Monday morning and knowing, not hoping, but knowing exactly what you are supposed to work on that day. This means that there's no decision fatigue before 9 a.m. Excuse me, there's no guilt about the 12 things that you're not doing, no fragmented focus pulling you in four directions before noon, just clarity and the kind of energy that comes from operating inside your lane. Imagine finishing a week of work and feeling like you actually moved, not just stayed busy. That is not an aspirational fantasy. That is what assignment, aligned execution feels like. And I have watched women go from complete frozen silence to daily consistent output, not because they worked harder, but because they stopped working on the things that were draining their reservoir meant for something else. Listen, your assignment doesn't require more of you, it requires more of the right you. And the right version of you is not buried under discipline and willpower. She is buried under misalignment. So where this alignment shows up, I want you to say something. I want to say something directly. Excuse me. Every week you stay overcommitted to the wrong things is a week your actual assignment sits unfinished. Every week you say yes to everything you're capable of is a week you delay the thing you were commissioned to build. And I know it's hard to hear, especially when you've been moving and working and producing, but movement is not always progress. And if you have been feeling that quiet unease, that low grade frustration, that something just isn't clicking, even though you're not stopping, that is not a motivation problem. That is an alignment problem. And alignment is solvable. It's solvable. So if your execution is delayed, it's not a time issue, it's an alignment issue. And the Season Shift Intensive was built exactly for this. This is a 90-minute strategic reset. It's private, it's one on one, and you leave with a 30-day execution map built around your actual assignment, not your full capacity. We will discern what belongs to the season. We will identify what needs to be dismantled. And we will build a structure that makes your execution consistent, not heroic. Mm-mm. We're not looking for heroes, and neither is God. So if this episode felt like, oh my goodness, listen, that's not an accident. The link to apply is going to be in the description below. I just want you to know and have this understanding that what you think you need, you know, you may not always need. What's important for me as I close out this video is that alignment to the assignment is critical. So let's get aligned. Let's get aligned. All right. So that's my time with us for this week. I pray that you have a blessed rest of your day, and I look forward to being back with you on next week in the next video. Blessings. If this question reflects your current leadership season, pause and notice your response. Nothing is wrong with you. This points to capacity, not character. This is the work I support inside my private D.D.B breakthrough coaching cohorts: structural support and sustainable change. If this pattern keeps repeating, deeper support matters. Thank you for spending this time with me. We rebuild first, then we rise.